Hello people, and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Here's the most important date for XRP holders in recent years. Okay guys, let's get into it. Okay, so what's this in regards to? It's in regards to Canary Capital amending their filing for an XRP ETF. And what is it that they've amended? They've basically amended the S1 filing registration, if I remember rightly. And what it basically means is originally there was something where when you put the filing in for the ETF, the government, like the SEC rather, could actually decide whether the date would be approved for it to go ahead and go live. So basically, if let's just say the SEC for whatever reason didn't like something to do with the ETF, they could delay it. They could say, look, you need to go back and amend this, etc., etc. And they could say, come back to us in a month's time, or they could give a date and say, yeah, okay, we approve this. It can go live on this date, whatever, right? And so they've actually taken this out now. And what it means is that the ETF can actually go auto effective within 20 days. And so the date that you need to be looking out for now is the 13th of November. Okay, the 13th of November. So it's very possible that this XRP ETF could go live as soon as the 13th of November. So definitely something to keep our eyes on. We've had a few ETFs that have already gone live, like a HBAR one and a Litecoin one. So we've already seen that. I'm just hoping this is helping to set the stage for the bull run, if it is still, happening. I'm hoping that it still is. A lot of analysts say that is the case. So, we'll see how it goes. But I'm just hoping that this will be something that will help to get that value really flowing. The ETFs that I have seen have been very successful. Like, they've done really well. So it does seem that the people who are, the average day users who do want to get into crypto, they are there. There is demand for these cryptos. So, this could be huge for XRP. Absolutely. And again, if we go into a bull run with these ETFs going live, yeah, absolutely, because as it gets more adopted, like let's just say the price of XRP goes up and people are seeing in the news, XRP is going up in value to, let's say, $4 or $5, for example, and it's in the news. Yeah, the people who are just like, well, I don't understand how crypto works, but I want to get involved. How can I get involved? Oh, there's ETFs. Great. I'll just get into an ETF. They can manage it for me. So that's why this can be so significant, because you're opening the door to a bigger user base, right? A bigger client base. So definitely something that we'll keep our eyes peeled on, and definitely potential here for this to be something big for XRP, no doubt. Okay, so got another thing here that I wanted to get into. Leading US media explains how XRP could help wipe out the US national debt of $37.8 trillion. Okay, so I have seen this video. I can't even remember what news station it is. I do apologize, but I'm sure you guys have probably saw this circulating around on X and whatnot by now anyway. But yeah, you've got a guy talking about how XRP could be utilized to wipe out the debt. Now, this is a little different from how people have propositioned it in the past. A lot of people was thinking about how they basically tokenized the debt and put all of the debt on the XRP ledger. The way this news anchor was explaining it was different to that, right? The way this guy was explaining it was, okay, they're not going to tokenize the debt and just put it all onto the ledger. What they're going to do is they're just going to buy a significant amount of XRP, which would significantly raise up the price, and then sell the XRP, right? And then they just take the profits, and that could just wipe out the debt. And so one of the examples that the news anchor used with this was, he basically said how with Bitcoin, if they'd have brought, I can't remember how much it was now. I think they said it was so many thousands worth of dollars of Bitcoin. If they'd have brought that back in 2009, at this point now, they'd have actually had enough to just wipe out the US debt completely. And so obviously he's now saying how you could do that with, XRP, for example. And then another thing he also mentioned was, they could just keep rinsing and repeating the cycle. So for example, when they sell the XRP for the profit, that would crash the market, right? Because the price is going to plummet dramatically again. And then what could the government do? Just scoop up XRP on the way down as well, right? So when it's dropped dramatically, they just buy more XRP, it rises back up, they keep taking profit, crashing the market again, and rinse and repeat. And so this is the kind of theory that has been posed by this news anchor. So my thing with this is, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little bit skeptical about the way he's spoke about this, because the main thing what he said here is how he could, like, you know, keep buying and selling and crashing the market. And that's the kind of thing that I'm a bit weary of in terms of how he's suggested this. I don't know how good this would be if the government could just keep buying it up and selling it, just keep on doing that same formula. Because, you know, the thing, what you've got to understand is, like, when, like, the markets are really heating up, exchanges can get very busy, right? And it can be a thing where, you know, like, it's very difficult to make trades and, you know, buy and sell. Like, for example, when we had the very recent huge liquidation event, the biggest liquidation event we had in history, when the prices really did drop down, there were people trying to get money onto exchanges to buy crypto, because obviously it went down so far that people were thinking, hey, this is a great buying opportunity. So some people really did want to try and take advantage of that. Now, I did hear some people get some trades in, but there were a lot of people who said they couldn't because the exchanges were so busy. And I think the people who did get trades in, they didn't quite get it at the exact payments that they'd requested, right? So, you know, it wasn't like exactly where they'd put it in, but they still managed to get something. And so, you know, when you think about if the government were to buy, you know, significant amounts of XRP in the way that they're talking, if that's going to just keep riding the price up like that, like, I can't imagine it being the fairy tale that people think it's going to be. I think it'll be a lot messier than what people think it's going to be. So while this is a valid, you know, reason in what he's saying, I don't know, one, how likely it would be that they would just pick XRP alone. I don't know, because they could pick more than just XRP, right? They don't have to just base it solely on XRP. And two, you know, I don't know how well this could actually be pulled off. And like I say, like, if they're talking about, like, you know, they're talking about trillions of dollars here. We're not talking about millions or even billions. We're talking trillions of dollars. If they're manipulating the market to that point, like, I don't know how good that could actually be for, you know, people like us who are just the general crypto holders, right? So it sounds good. It sounds good on paper, but to me, I'm not so sure this would go as well as what it sounds. And this is the thing, right? I get that this is being put on mainstream media. The thing I'll say is this: just because someone's mentioning it on mainstream media doesn't mean it's going to happen. It also doesn't mean that what this guy's saying is fully, you know, informed. Like, for example, he could have just started doing research on XRP and watching some XRP videos, and this is just an idea now that he's pushing, right? Like, he could be an XRP holder. He could just be hoping that this is something that could help him get his bags pumped up, right? So you got to understand that with this kind of stuff, don't always just take it because someone's mentioned it like this is going to happen. Yes, is it a possibility? It is a possibility, but this isn't something that I would be thinking is definitely going to happen in any way, shape or form, to be honest with you. But I will say this, it's been said recently by someone, like, I think it was a spokesperson for Russia, and he was saying that, like, they're going to use crypto to basically wipe out the US debt. They did mention that. So obviously, again, that's speculation, but is it something that they're just kind of, they can see it coming, they can see what they're trying to do? Maybe, you know, like, it's a possibility. So again, would it just be XRP? I don't know. Like, you know, it could be multiple cryptos that they do this with. So, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean it has to solely be XRP. But yeah, look, you know, if it happens, it happens. Again, my thing will be is this going to be as great as we would want it to be? Is it going to just be that XRP just substantially goes up in value and then we all get to cash out our millions, or, you know, who knows, billions if RP? You know, like, is it going to be that easy? Somehow I don't think so. You know, really, I just don't see it. And maybe that's me being very pessimistic, you know, but, you know, like, that sounds very kind of happily ever after. Like, there's going to be no issues. And if you look at, like, for example, this liquidation event that was manipulated, I can't see it being something straightforward. Like, I really can't see it just being a thing of we just get to make our money and that's it. There's no issues. Like, somehow I feel like there would be a lot of turmoil involved in this, in my personal opinion. So thought I'd cover it because, you know, it is something that's going around now and it is being circulated. But yeah, as I say, for me, I'd be a bit more skeptical of this. But, you know, the first things first is let's just see if it even happens, because, you know, I'm not 100% convinced of that just yet. But, you know, if this is something that does come up, then no doubt I'll address it at the time and I'll go into a lot more detail on it and what I think about it. So we'll see how things go, but that's just my thoughts as it stands. Thank you very much for watching this. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit that bell. Take care.